Natalee Holloway was born in 1986 in Memphis, Tennessee to Dave and Elizabeth Holloway. Her parents were college classmates who eventually got married and had 2 children together, Natalee and her younger brother Matthew. Unfortunately, in 1993, the couple divorced, leaving Elizabeth to raise her 2 children on her own. In the year 2000, Elizabeth remarried to George Twitty, an Alabama businessman, and the family relocated to Mountain Brook, Alabama. Natalee was 14 at the time she moved from tiny Clinton, Mississippi to Mountain Brook, a wealthy suburb of Birmingham. She joined Mountain Brook High School in the 8th grade. Natalee was a good jazz dancer and was on the school dance team every year. She was also very smart and she was obsessed with topography. She loved to study the mountain ranges on maps. Natalee shared a close relationship with her mother, Beth, who was a speech pathologist who worked with children, and that sensitivity definitely rubbed off on Natalee. In May 2005, Natalee graduated with honors and was granted a full scholarship to the University of Alabama, where she planned to pursue a pre-med track. Following her graduation on Thursday, May 26, 2005, Natalee, along with about 100 fellow graduates and 4 chaperone teachers, embarked on a 5-day unofficial graduation trip to Aruba. Natalee and her friends were very excited for this trip, and they even painted t-shirts that said Aruba. Everyone stayed at the Aruba Holiday Inn. During the day, they went snorkeling in the crystal clear waters, and at night, everyone got really dressed up and had dinner at the hotel. Afterwards, students would go to popular hangouts like Carlos and Charlie's, that was your average beach bar. However, during the investigation led by Police Commissioner Gerald Dumping from mid-2005 until 2006, it was revealed that the Mountain Brook students engaged in what some might describe as wild partying and excessive drinking. Consequently, the Holiday Inn told the school they were not welcome next year. Allegedly, Natalee herself was noted for consuming substantial amounts of alcohol, with reports suggesting she even started each day with cocktails. 2 of her close friends, Liz Kane and Claire Fireman, acknowledged that the drinking during the trip had escalated to levels they considered kind of excessive. Natalee and her fellow classmates were 18 and 19 years old. They had just graduated from high school and gone on a trip to celebrate their graduation in a country where the legal age for buying alcohol was 18. So it is not surprising that everyone was drinking, partying, and enjoying the moment to the fullest in this beautiful exotic destination. Youthful and carefree, the students may not have given much thought to safety or potential risks. So on the last day of the trip, Natalee decided to go out to a bar, and her friends decided to stay at the hotel without ever thinking that it could be dangerous to leave Natalee alone. She went to Carlos and Charlie's without her close friends, but she was not completely alone. Some of her classmates went with her. Natalee Holloway was last seen by her classmates around 1:30 a.m. on Monday, May 30th, as she was leaving the bar in a car with 17-year-old Joran Van der Sloot, a Dutch honors student who was living in Aruba, and his 2 Surinamese friends, brothers 21-year-old Deepak and 18-year-old Satish Kalpoe. Natalee's classmates returned to the hotel thinking she would come to the hotel later. In the morning, everyone was rushing to pack their luggage since it was their last day of the trip and they had to catch a flight back to the US. The students were probably still hungover from drinking last night, and in the rush to pack everything, they didn't notice that Natalee had never returned to her room. Her roommates were the only ones who noticed, so they went to the Aruban police stationed around the hotel and told them our friend didn't come home. The police just calmly took notes on a clipboard and nothing was done. It was time for everyone to go to the airport, and probably in the chaos of it all, no one noticed or said anything about Natalee being missing. It wasn't until they gathered at the airport that Natalee's friends realized she was missing. Thinking she might be lounging on the beach somewhere, their main concern was facing her mother's anger for missing the flight back home. However, their worry turned to alarm when one of Natalee's close friends, Claire, received a call upon landing in the US revealing the severity of the situation. Natalee was missing. Her friend cried the whole bus ride home, and just 14 hours after coming home from Aruba, Natalee's friends and classmates were gathered at Claire's bedroom worried sick about their friend. Natalee's mother, Beth, immediately took action and gathered information from one of the students on the trip, learning that Natalee was last seen with 17-year-old Joran Van der Sloot. As Natalee's classmates worried in Claire's bedroom, Beth was already on her way to Aruba with her help of a private jet. Armed with Joran's address, she set out to find her daughter, accompanied by her husband and 2 Aruban police officers. She called Claire and asked for more details about Joran. Everyone in the room started shouting what they could remember. They all thought that Natalee was being held hostage at Joran's house. Beth got to the house and pleaded to be let in, but Joran refused. Van der Sloot initially denied knowing Natalee's name, but later claimed he and the Kalpoe brothers dropped her off at her hotel around 2 a.m. after driving her to the California lighthouse area of Arashi Beach, where she wanted to see sharks. And from the beginning, you can see Joran was inconsistent and changed his story, from not knowing Natalee's name to dropping her off at her hotel. According to him, Natalee fell down as she exited the car but refused his help. He stated that as he and the Kalpoe brothers were driving away, Holloway was approached by a dark man in a black shirt similar to those worn by security guards. The search and rescue efforts for Holloway began immediately. Hundreds of volunteers from Aruba and the United States joined in the effort. During the first days of the search, the Aruban government gave thousands of civil servants the day off to participate in the rescue effort. 50 Dutch Marines conducted an extensive search of the shoreline. Aruban banks raised $20,000 and provided other support to aid volunteer search teams. Despite the tremendous extent of the search for Natalee, she remained elusive and her whereabouts remained unknown. Reports indicate that Holloway did not appear on any surveillance footage of the hotel lobby, although she did not have to go through the lobby to return to her room. Also, no footage was found showing that Joran dropped Natalee off. The mystery surrounding her disappearance only deepened as the investigation continued. On June 5th, merely 6 days after Natalee's disappearance, the Aruban police detained Nick Jones and Abraham Jones, former security guards from the nearby Allegra Hotel, under suspicion of murder and kidnapping. While the authorities never officially disclosed the exact reasons for their arrests, news accounts suggest that the statements made by Van der Sloot and the Kalpoe brothers might have played a role in their apprehension. I assume it is because of their comment that the last person seen with Natalee was someone dressed as security personnel. Reports also indicate that the 2 former guards were known for cruising hotels to pick up women, and at least one of them had a prior incident with law enforcement. On June 13th, both Jones and Jones were released without any former charges being brought against them. On June 9th, a significant development unfolded as Van der Sloot and the Kalpoe brothers were taken into custody under suspicion of kidnapping and murdering Natalee Holloway. Aruban law allows investigators to make arrests based on serious suspicion, but to continue holding a suspect in custody, concrete evidence must be found. From the very beginning, these 3 individuals became the primary focus of the investigation, prompting close surveillance that began just 3 days after Holloway was reported missing. The investigation utilized various tools including surveillance, telephone wiretaps, and email monitoring to gather crucial information. Police Commissioner Dompick revealed that the pressure from Holloway's family led to the decision to detain the 3 suspects prematurely, cutting short the ongoing surveillance. The Kalpoe brothers were released on July 4th, while Joran remained in custody. Throughout the summer, searches for Natalee persisted, funded both publicly and privately by the Holloways and their friends, but with no results. Initially, Holloway family offered $175,000 and donors offered $50,000 for her safe return. 2 months after her disappearance, the reward was increased to $1 million with $100,000 reward for information leading to the location of her remains. The Kalpoe brothers were rearrested on August 26 along with another new suspect, 21-year-old Freddie Arambazis. According to Freddie's lawyer, his client was under suspicion for allegedly taking photographs of an underage girl and engaging in inappropriate physical contact with her. This incident occurred before Natalee's disappearance, with Van der Sloot and the Kalpoe brothers allegedly participating in the crime. Anita Van der Sloot, Joran's mother, viewed these actions as a desperate attempt to coerce the boys into providing information about Natalee's case. On September 3rd, the suspects were released by a judge despite the prosecution's effort to keep them in custody. By this point, Van der Sloot had been sitting in jail since June, but due to a lack of evidence indicating a crime had been committed, he was released. A few weeks later, he flew to the Netherlands to start college. In the months following his release, Joran gave several interviews recounting his version of events. One of the most notable interviews was broadcast on Fox News in March 2006. During this interview, Van der Sloot indicated that Natalee wanted to have sex with him, but he didn't because he didn't have a condom. He stated that Holloway wanted them to stay on the beach, but he had to go to school in the morning. According to Van der Sloot, he was picked up by Kalpoe at about 3 a.m. and left Holloway sitting on the beach. However, Kalpoe's attorney contradicted this claim, asserting that his client had already gone to sleep and did not return to drive Van der Sloot home. Joran admitted feeling somewhat ashamed for leaving a young woman alone on the beach despite her request and initially withheld information, convinced that Holloway would eventually reappear. On April 27, 2006, a new search was launched at the Van der Sloot family residence in Aruba, involving approximately 20 investigators, and later on May 12th, the authorities conducted a search at the Kalpoe family residence. Shortly before leaving the case, Police Commissioner Dumping gave an interview to CBS, expressing his belief that Holloway was not murdered, but rather may have died from alcohol and/or drug poisoning, with someone later hiding her body. Dumping also disclosed that Aruba had allocated about $3 million for the investigation, which is approximately 40% of the police operational budget, and suggested that there was evidence indicating possession, though not necessarily use, of illicit drugs by Holloway. However, members of Natalee's family refuted any claims of her using drugs. In November 2007, Van der Sloot, along with the Kalpoe brothers, was taken into custody again under suspicion of involvement in involuntary manslaughter and causing serious bodily harm that resulted in Holloway's passing. Dutch authorities detained Van der Sloot in the Netherlands and extradited him to Aruba, where he was incarcerated. However, the prosecutors failed to present enough evidence to charge them, leading to their release once more. The case continued to leave unanswered questions. In March 2008, explosive news emerged. A Dutch journalist had a tape of Van der Sloot saying that he had witnessed Natalee lose her life on an Aruban beach, although he denied causing her harm. The footage was captured by hidden cameras and microphones placed in the vehicle of Patrick van der M, a Dutch businessman and ex-convict who had gained Van der Sloot's trust. In the video, Van der Sloot was seen smoking weed and stating that he was with Natalee when she began convulsively shaking and then became unresponsive. Van der Sloot stated that he attempted to revive her without success, and he also said that he called a friend who advised him to go home, and this friend allegedly disposed of the body. The individual identified in the broadcast as the friend refuted Van der Sloot's account, asserting that he was in Rotterdam at school at the time. Later that day, Joran retracted his statement, claiming he had told the individual on the tape what he wanted to hear, and denied any involvement in her disappearance. The Aruban prosecutor's office sought an arrest warrant for Van der Sloot based on the tapes, but a judge denied the request. On November 24th, Fox News aired an interview with Joran in which he alleged that he sold Holloway into sexual slavery, receiving money both when Holloway was taken and later on to keep quiet. He also alleged that his father paid off 2 police officers who had learned that Holloway was taken to Venezuela. Van der Sloot later retracted the statements made in this interview, and Fox News also aired part of an audio recording provided by him, which he alleged is a phone conversation between him and his father, in which the father displays knowledge of his son's involvement in human trafficking. Nonetheless, doubts arose, and some believe that the father's voice on the recording was actually Joran's attempt to speak in a lower tone. In March 2010, Van der Sloot contacted Natalee's mother's lawyer with an offer to reveal the location of Natalee's body and the circumstances surrounding her death in exchange for a $250,000 payment with a $25,000 advance. He told her she would never find her daughter's body or know what happened to her unless she paid him the money, and after the FBI were notified, they arranged a transaction. Authorities stated that the information that he provided in return was false because the house in which he said Holloway's body was located had not yet been built at the time of her disappearance, and on June 3, 2010, Van der Sloot was charged in the U.S. District Court of Northern Alabama with extortion and wire fraud. U.S. Attorney Joyce White Vance obtained an arrest warrant and transmitted it to Interpol, and on June 30th, Van der Sloot was indicted on the charges. On May 30th, 2010, 5 years to the day after Holloway's disappearance, Stephany Flores Ramirez, a 21-year-old business student, was reported missing in Lima, Peru. She was tragically found dead 3 days later in a hotel room registered under Van der Sloot's name, brutally beaten to death. Van der Sloot fled to Chile but was arrested there on June 3rd on a murder charge and extradited to Peru the following day. Peruvian authorities stated that Van der Sloot confessed to taking Flores' life after losing his temper when she accessed his laptop without permission and discovered information linking him to Natalee. During a prison interview, he offered to assist Aruban authorities in finding Natalee's body, but the interrogation mainly focused on the Peru case, avoiding questions about her disappearance. He was charged in Lima Superior Court with first-degree murder and robbery. On June 15th, Aruban and Peruvian authorities announced an agreement to cooperate and allow investigators from Aruba to interview Van der Sloot at Miguel Castro prison in Peru. In this prison interview, Joran reportedly admitted to the extortion plot, stating, "I wanted to get back at Natalee's family. Her parents have been making my life tough for 5 years." On January 11, 2012, Van der Sloot pleaded guilty to murdering Flores and was sentenced to 28 years in prison. In June 2011, 6 years after Natalee's disappearance, Beth Holloway filed a petition with the Alabama courts to have his daughter declared legally dead. And on January 12, 2012, an Alabama judge granted his petition. Natalee Holloway was declared legally dead. In May 2023, plans for Van der Sloot's extradition from Peru to the U.S. were announced, marking a significant development in this case. Beth Holloway, Natalee's mother, shared a heartfelt statement. "I was blessed to have had Natalee in my life for 18 years, and as of this month, I have been without her for exactly 18 years. She would be 36 years old now. It has been a very long and painful journey, but the persistence of many is going to pay off. Together, we are finally getting justice for Natalee." On June 8, 2023, Van der Sloot was extradited to the U.S., landing at an airport in Birmingham, Alabama. After arriving in Birmingham, he was taken into U.S. custody and transported to the Hoover City Jail. On June 9th, he was arraigned in the federal court in Birmingham on 1 count of extortion and 1 count of wire fraud against Bethany Holloway, Natalee Holloway's mother. He pleaded not guilty to both charges. Although Natalee's family recognizes that these specific charges are not directly related to her disappearance, they hope that this process would eventually provide more information about her whereabouts and remains. If convicted on both charges, Joran Van der Sloot could face a maximum sentence of 40 years, offering some semblance of justice to Natalee's family. Van der Sloot's attorney, federal public defender Kevin Butler, filed the unopposed motion Monday asking for a delay to allow the reasonable time necessary for effective preparation of trial, according to court documents. A judge has granted a motion to delay the trial date, but the extension will not go past October 2nd of this year. A trial date is expected to be set later. He is expected to remain in custody at Alabama's Shelby County Jail until his trial. In the years since her daughter's disappearance, Beth Holloway has been an advocate for Natalee and other missing young women. She has managed to redefine her life, finding joy through her son, his new family, and her work. Dave Holloway, Natalee's father, continues to search for his missing daughter and has made numerous return trips to Aruba following leads in the hope of finding answers. He remains determined to uncover the truth despite facing heartbreaking setbacks. Joran Van der Sloot married a Peruvian woman in July 2014 in a ceremony at a maximum security prison. He was transferred among Peruvian prisons in response to reports that he enjoyed privileges such as TV, internet access, and a cell phone, and accusations that he had threatened to kill a warden. He fathered a child while in prison. The three initially told police that after a night of eating, drinking, and dancing, they took Holloway to a northern beach before dropping her off at her hotel around 2 a.m. Satish Kalpoe's lawyer later said his client admitted that his story was a lie and then claimed that he and his brother dropped Holloway and Van der Sloot off together at a beach near the Marriott Hotel, then went home. As of 2020, the Kalpoes continue to live and work in Aruba. Joran's father, an Aruban lawyer in training to be a judge in 2005, was questioned repeatedly along with his son. He himself was arrested in the case a month after Natalee vanished, but he was soon released. When his son was charged with extortion in 2010, an affidavit said Natalee Holloway died after Joran threw her to the ground when she attempted to stop him from leaving her. The affidavit says that Paulus Van der Sloot helped his son dispose of Natalee's body. This could explain why Joran included the odd detail in his statement that after dropping Natalee off, she fell from the car and hit her head. But Joran has changed his version of events so many times since then that we can't know when he was telling the truth. The affidavit was filed months after Paulus died while playing tennis at age 57. Do you believe this was the cause of Natalee's passing? Let's hope that we will find out what happened to Natalee during Joran's trial and that justice will be served.